And as I sit here during my meditations, I can hear him rustling his palm fronds, swaying in the breezes. Such a happy, gentle, sweet friend. A gift from Mother Nature right outside my door. Thank you, Russell. I'm grateful for your presence in my life. And so here we are together. I'm so glad to share the sanctuary with you. And today I wanted to talk about relationship. Probably one of the top 5, if not top 3, subjects and mysteries of life. So much of our attention and energy goes into attempting to be happy, content, safe, fulfilled in our relationships with other human beings. And yet, even in all the work that I do with people, and myself included, who claim a pretty high degree of consciousness, it's fascinating to me that the focus is so much still on relationship with other. It's like a Rubik's Cube. How do you get that to work? And it's been my path this time around to almost completely focus on the journey of relationship. And yet, no surprise, this has happened for all of us, what I've discovered is that truly it's a journey of being in relationship with myself and being in relationship with the divine, with the source. And that it's that focus. This one, I do it this way because it feels like the rest of all of what we are is beyond our crown chakra and in the expanse of the universe. And that is the connection that truly gives us everything that we're seeking with other human beings. And that also, when I learn to have a loving, accepting, patient, courageous, compassionate relationship with myself as a human being, with all of my imperfections and humanly identified wants and needs and hurts and beliefs, all that seemingly messy stuff that has to do with being in relationship with myself, and also being willing to expand, to be fully all that I am capable of being, not holding myself back. That relationship is so fundamental, learning to be present and bearing witness to and becoming a very compassionate friend to myself. And that really, if we truly want conscious, fulfilling relationship with others, these two more inward relationships absolutely have to take up a great deal of our study, our practice, our intention. And it's my experience that when we do, even if it requires daily, time to time unhooking, stepping back, creating some space away from our others, especially our significant others, that the time and energy we spend attending to our human self, and especially really strengthening and building and deepening into our connection with the source, that it just shifts us. It completely and utterly shifts the who that we are. We all have our limited identity that says I'm separate, and I have wounds, and I have fears, and I have wants, and I have needs. And on the human level, all that stuff seems real. And as far as I'm concerned, it is real. It's stuff that has to be honored and attended to. Unfortunately, I've seen too many attempts to premature transcend that stuff and to just say it's not real, and I'm just the divine, and we're all part of oneness. And yet there's immense suffering that's going on because there's internal dialogue, internal unconscious beliefs that keep the sense of self in suffering. So my message today is, do your human work. Be willing to own the full breadth and depth and width of who you are, from your most shadowy, difficult side to your most exalted side. And that as you get your mastery there, leaving none of it out, that is the practice of being the divine. Being connected to the divine, being the divine, to me it does not mean lifting up out of that stuff. It means wrapping these infinite arms around our human experience. And then when I know myself, know thyself is one of the first mandates of all spiritual work, then when I go to my other, I know what I'm bringing. I know what kind of day I'm having. I know how integrated or unintegrated I feel. I know what quality of connection I'm in. And I'm less likely to put all of my needs on that other person and expect them to take care of me and fill me up, because I've done that for myself. And I'm usually a whole lot more able to communicate and articulate who I am, what's going on with me from my direct experience. And then I can turn what can sometimes, and a lot of times, be unconscious demands, unconscious manipulation to get the other person to do what we want, into really clean, authentic requests. Everybody knows it doesn't feel good to feel manipulated or demanded of, and yet we do it all day long in our relationships. Often with a smile on our face and sugar in our words, but nonetheless, it's an egoic demand coming from some empty place inside where we haven't taken responsibility yet for filling our own cup. So then, as we do turn to the other, and we make those authentic requests, then the next piece of work comes in. Sometimes the other person isn't all that centered in themselves, and they get triggered. They start reacting, resisting, avoiding, judging, whatever they do. And that soup, that weaving together, if I'm not 100% clear, if I haven't done my inner work, the other person isn't all that clear and connected, it's a mess. And we all know what I'm talking about. It's like, oh my God, how come everything that comes out of my mouth makes you feel worse? How come everything that comes out of your mouth makes me feel worse? And how come no matter how hard we're trying to do all the conscious relationship practices, we're just spiraling down into this abyss? Pretty easy answer. We're not connected to ourselves. We're not connected to the source. We're operating from some sense of separation, some sense of ego identification. And when two or more are gathered in that church, it's not a very holy place. So what to do? In my experience, the first step is to just say, time out, we're not getting anywhere. This is going from bad to worse. Let's please just stop. And the first person who calls that gets a point in my book. It takes a lot to disengage from the two egos going at each other. And if you can agree as partners, as family members, even as work peers, to just take a few breaths. Why don't you sit in your space, I'll sit in my space, maybe even we'll go out and take a break outside, and just be. Just breathe in and out, get connected, and tune into what's happening, what's really going on here. And as we do that, here we come, back home to our human self, noticing all that's running, all that's getting triggered, and we can relax back in to that deeper connection.